Yes, the BBC's Syed Shehata, a political analyst here with us. And Syed, just as we look at these pictures of Tahrir Square, I mean, it is almost a return to the revolution which ousted President Mubarak. This intervention by the army now, how does that raise the stakes? Would there be popular support for the army to intervene in this way?
I think so, because part of the opposition was calling for the army to intervene, and they compare between the SCAF when they were in power and Morsi was in power, so they thought, or they're thinking, that the army with all of its problems is easier to get rid of them than the Islamist headed by President Morsi. But the new formula, which suggested by Sisi, the Minister of Defense or the head of the army, is there is a roadmap. And the roadmap might be, in my analysis, will be a presidential council from all factions of society. So it can be one from the Muslim Brotherhood, one from the Noor Party, the Salafists.
So one that we saw, in other words, post-Mubarak.
It's the same, exactly. And Morsi, in the opinion of Tamarrud and the people repelling the street in Tahrir Square and other governorates, his speech last week was in their opinion, the last chance for Morsi to make any concession. But in the ideology of the Islamists, either to make concession if they are forced to do that, or they get offered. And in the history of the Muslim Brotherhood and the other Islamic movements, when they force to do something, they do that. But I think at that time, there is no, second chance with the army intervening and the statement.
But Syed, isn't there a problem here that expectations are just too high and too disparate in terms of what people want?
I think so, because there is no concrete alternative for Morsi, and the call for Hamdin Sabiha and the other candidates to unite and not to repeat the mistakes of last presidential election when there is 13 candidates, so they divide the vote between them, and many, more than 8 million people voted for Morsi because they don't like Shafiq, they don't like the old regime. But Morsi, in their opinion, betrayed them, and all of his decisions since a year ago, trying to put the Muslim Brotherhood people in any section all over Egypt, in ministries and media and other places.
But so much was made that when Morsi came to power a year ago, when he was inaugurated, these were the first democratic elections, the first democratically elected leader of Egypt in thousands of years. What does this say for the chance of democracy in Egypt if, after a year, people take to the streets and demand change, even if this man has been voted in?
It's a good question, but people looking at Morsi, what he's done since he came, he make a constitutional declaration which put all the powers in his hand. He put ministers from his faction, the Muslim Brotherhood, and he also trying to put Al-Ikhwan, a Muslim Brotherhood, in every aspect of society. So, in any democracies, if the president make mistake after mistake and puts the country in danger, in the opinion of the opposition and the analysts, we cannot let him wait, until 4 years, because if 1 year, all of this damages happen to Egypt on the international level, on regional level, and on domestic level. Look at the economy, look at the tourism, look at the Nile River and the relationship with Ethiopia and other places. If you look at all of that, so failure after failure after failure. So can we let him, according to democracy, to let it go according to the Islamist and the Muslim Brotherhood, because the Noor Party does not supporting him? So if we let him go all the way with that, with democracy, do it until 4 years, I think will lead the country. So it's the vote of the people when they're to reflect that. If he can respond to them, but I think the only response now is either to sack Sisi, which would be a suicide, or to respond and step down and make another election. And they are not going to be excluded. So a Sisi message is to include all factions of Egyptian society in the roadmap. So the Islamist or the Muslim Brotherhood as such and the Jama'ah Islamiyah will not be excluded as they fear. They will be part of the equation for the future.
All right, Syed Shehata, thank you very much indeed for that analysis. Now,